Are you looking for someone to help you with your roof, siding, and gutters projects? Look no further than CRC Renovations. Serving the Lexington and surrounding communities for over 20 years, this family-based company can help you with all of your exterior needs. Call the folks over at CRC Renovations at 859-327-3913. Again, that's 859-327-3913.
Sean, I noticed your landscaping the other day looks fantastic. I hate landscaping. I know that you aren't a big fan of landscaping. Who did it for you?
Well, it wasn't me.
Well, I didn't figure.
I contacted the guys over at Horizon Landscaping. Mike and Jimmy, they did an excellent job. And it was super affordable.
Are they local?
They are local. And you can reach them on Facebook by reaching out to Mike Wills, or you can call them at 859-274-6571. Again, that's 859-274-6571 for all of your landscaping needs.
Well, I'm definitely going to give them a call. Thanks.
5 seconds left. Boston only has a 1-point lead.
Greer's putting the ball on a play. He gets it out deep, and
Havlicek steals it. Over the stand throws. Havlicek stole the ball. It's all over.
Oh, my goodness. Sorrentine hit that one from the parking lot. And Vermont has a 59-55 lead.
Swung line drive left field. One run is in. Here comes Bream. Here's the front of the plate. He is safe. Braves win. Braves win. Braves win. Braves win.
Schultz, 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable.
Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier.
I just got 3 things to say. God bless our troops. God bless America. And gentlemen, start your engine!
it's showtime.
Ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, and sports enthusiasts from around the world. This is the podcast you have all been waiting for. Whether listening in the car, on your morning drive, or with one earbud in at the office, this is the sports show that has it all. From pro wrestling to the octagon, from the gridiron to the baseball diamond, from the pitch to the ice, it's all here. You have tuned in to Mount Sterling's most downloaded podcast that drops on Saturdays at 3 a.m. This is not your average podcast. This is From Corner to Corner. And now, here are your hosts, Sean Big Papa Kiper, Wes Breadman Crouch, Adam Big Country Muncy, and Neil Mullet Man Payne.
And welcome back to another episode of From Corner to Corner. Wes and Sean here tonight. And we have a special guest with us, Reaghan Oney. Thank you for coming on and joining us for the show. Woohoo! We brought Reaghan on because, you know, she's going to be playing some college softball for Troy University, right?
Yes.
Are you excited?
Very.
Nice. So you're a 2-sport girl, right?
Yes.
Softball and basketball. Mm-hmm. Softball is your passion. I could tell by the senior Sunday post that your mom put on Facebook that little story you had about how she played through an injury and all that stuff, and you could just tell that at 7 years old you had it in you, right?
Yes.
So you killed it this past season. I mean, we on the show were calling you Mark McGuire. I don't know if you knew that or not, but no, you're like the female version of Mark McGuire. Because
does she know who Mark McGuire is?
She knows who Mark McGuire is. Probably not.
No, I was going to say.
Just take
somebody closer
compliment.
To time. Let's see.
There ain't nobody that hits home runs like Mark McGuire did.
Well, and my favorite player is Bryce Harper.
There you go.
Okay, there you go.
Thank you.
I love him.
Bryce is like half of what Mark McGuire was. Body build wise.
Yeah, but when he hits one, when he gets hold to one, yeah, it's
we saw Bryce Harper play back in the summer. We went to Cleveland and watched him play.
Oh, yeah, sure enough, we did.
Yeah.
I love him.
Yeah. So,
do you like the way he plays, or do you just like his glorious hair?
His hair, oh my gosh.
I mean, I wish I could grow that hair. It would look terrible, but golly, he's got some glorious hair.
I saw him play when he traveled through with not with the Legends, but I saw him play at Legends Field when he was in the minor leagues. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Not knowing then, we knew who he was, but we didn't know what he was going to be, right? So he was pretty key on that. So, so Troy wasn't your first choice, right?
Yeah.
First choice was Marshall. Mm-hmm. And was there some history to Marshall?
Well, my mom went there.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
And it was just very close to home. And
Yeah.
I was like, well, this is perfect. People can come watch me. And, and Mom took me around, and I loved it there.
Yeah. Hey, Marshall is a cool place. Obviously, everybody knows the Marshall history with the football team and all that stuff. But, Marshall's a great university. And you pretty much locked in, right? You had already done the commitment, and then their head coach left, right?
Yes.
And went to North Carolina. Mm-hmm. Did you not get the call to come to North Carolina?
Well, I did, and then it was just, it's money. It's all based on money, If I get a 20%, I'm still paying outrageous money.
Yeah.
So I'd rather go where I'm getting almost a full ride than.
Yeah.
Totally understand.
Well, hey.
Yeah.
And you're still playing Division I softball.
Yes.
In all essence, though, that has to be a great honor that the University of North Carolina, I say, hey, but I get that, right? I mean, in the alternate sports, baseball, softball, things like that, they don't always get the full ride, especially in a school like that that's got the big football program and the big men's basketball program and stuff like that. The full rides just don't. There's not enough money to go around for everybody. So I get that.
Yes.
I get that. So then, was Troy always an option on the table, or were they late to the game, or?
No, they were number 2.
Okay.
They were right after Marshall.
Okay.
So in the recruiting process, we knew you committed to Marshall. Things happened. Then you committed to Troy. Who else was on the list? And tell us how everything kind of started with recruiting. Did it start just this last year? Did it start 2 years ago? Kind of walk us through that process.
So my junior year, September 1st, is when everyone starts to call, and I didn't get nothing. I was like, I'm going to get a big call from UK or something. No, that's not how that works. I will tell you that. It took me, I got my first offer, Murray State, and I was like, oh my gosh. I was happy, I was excited. And then it rolls around to my senior year, and I got Clemson talking to me.
Wow.
No money or nothing, just talking. I got Virginia Tech asking me to come to their camp. And, I went to a few from Alabama, and that was amazing. They showed interest. It's just they were full with their class of 2024. And then Marshall gave me an offer, and then that's when I took it right there. But then Troy was always there waiting for me.
And Virginia Tech's a big-time softball school.
Yes.
So did you go to Marshall, and you were talking about you went to camp at Virginia Tech. Did you go to Marshall and take like an official visit or an unofficial visit when they offered you, and or were you just doing camps and then you got to talk to coaches during that time and whatnot?
I went on an unofficial and an official visit.
Okay.
So when they offered me, they took me on an official visit.
Okay.
And then I went to some camps before that.
Okay. Because, you've played just about everywhere at this point. You've played in Colorado for a couple of seasons.
Yes.
And you've played, you went to Virginia Tech. I saw where you went to Alabama. You've been to a lot of clinics, stuff like that. Do you like the whirlwind that recruiting is now? Do you like going to all these places? In Colorado, you're playing with your travel team.
Yes.
But obviously, there's probably the reason you're doing that. There's probably a lot of college coaches watching you there and stuff like that. Do you like the whole whirlwind of recruiting?
I love it.
Yeah.
I love going to Colorado and seeing, like Clemson came, Virginia Tech, and Tennessee, and they were all just hovering. I was like, it was nerve-wracking, but at the same time, I was like, I love this. I love watching all these people.
Yeah, you said it's kind of nerve-wracking when you're playing. Are you pretty good at just getting them out of your mind, not seeing who's there? You're just in tune to the game at that point.
Yes, I love when there's pressure.
Okay.
That's my favorite time.
Okay.
Like when I'm up the bat and there's a coach sitting right there, that's my favorite. Now when there's nobody there, I'm just like lollygagging, like I need to focus. But when there's a coach right there, I'm like locked in.
Got you. So went to Marshall, things happened. So what turned you on to Troy that, made you say, yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and make this decision to go to there?
Well, the coach is just like another father.
Okay.
I will say that. He's very family-based. It's warm down there especially.
Very.
But, like, he just brought me in like I was one of his daughters. Like, he knew me forever. And it's just so clean down there, and he's just trustworthy. You got to trust the coach.
So it's in Troy, Alabama.
Yes.
So, and you said it's an hour and a half away from the beach. That's
Yes.
That's pretty nice. So yeah, you are down the south.
Yes.
Quite a bit. When you went on your official visit to Troy, what was there anything unique that you were like, oh, I didn't know that was down here, or Neil kind of said, these recruiting visits anymore, they pamper you. I mean, for the most part. I mean, some places they'll fly you out. Some places they're like, we'll just put you up in a hotel, get up here, and we'll put you up in a hotel. So, was there anything unique? Was there anything that you were like, oh, that's pretty cool?
So he did put us in a hotel. We drove down there, they gave us money for gas, all that. And we get down there and he's like, all right, come to the softball field. And I was like, okay. So we go down there, he's feeding me. He's getting, I was like, okay, that's me. And then he's like, all right, we're going to a football game Saturday. I was like,
okay.
So he took me to a football game, got me down on the field and everything.
And Troy's got a good football team.
Yes. And I was like, mid-major school, there's not going to be a lot of people here, tailgating. And I was like, oh my goodness, the stands were full. Everybody was tailgating and, all the student section was there and just cheering. And I was like, this is where I want to go. I love this place.
Now, it's Troy's in the Sun Belt, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what
Same
I
as Marshall.
So now, how long has Coach been coaching there at Troy?
2 years.
Okay, so fairly new there.
Yes.
It's kind of cool though, because even when we was talking to Hayden a couple of weeks ago, she was recruited to a place up in like Connecticut, and it's like, it's so cool to see, like, from 9 hours away, Troy University is recruiting one of the girls from little old Mount Sterling, Kentucky, right? I just think that's so cool, and it's like, are you sending off tape, or is this just generally they're contacting you guys off of stuff that they've seen? Now, you have done a fantastic job of promoting yourself on Twitter, right? Or X, whatever you want to call it now. You do a good job of that. And you were seen, every time we turned around, if it wasn't you, somebody else was tagging you. And I mean, it was literally every night we would just tune into Twitter and go, well, how many home runs did she hit tonight? So, phenomenal season. You were an athlete of the week a couple of times, I believe. There's some big news coming in a couple of weeks that you will be interested in. So you might want to tune in that night. It's kind of cool to see that and hear part of the process. Now, one of the questions we asked Hayden was, out of all these places that you've been to, what was the best food that you got anywhere that you went?
I would definitely Alabama, down in Alabama. It's like you go there and there's like holes in the wall. Like, I'm just saying, like,
no, you're
there's
right.
Like pictures, and me and mom went down there, for Alabama camp, and we were like, Beth Barrier even was like, there's this place, and we go to it and we're like, what is this? Like, this is not it. Like, is this the right place? We go in and it's the best home cooked meal you've ever had.
Yeah.
Like, the food is incredible down there.
Those places exist everywhere,
Yes.
right? So, I know it's Troy, but what's like the closest city to Troy? I'm trying to picture where that's at. Montgomery. Okay. So,
50 miles south of Montgomery.
Okay. All right. So, you're right there in the heart of Alabama.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like you said, you'll play in the Sun Belt Conference. It looks like they were fourth last year in the conference. Yeah. 33-19 overall, 14-9 in the in the conference play. I mean, it looks like there's some pretty good teams above them, but what did Coach say to you that said, here's my vision? Only being there for 2 years,
he's still building a program.
Still building a program. He's done pretty well last year. So what did he tell you that was like, here's my vision, here's where we want to be in such amount of time?
So last year is his first year, and he couldn't really recruit the class that he wanted to recruit.
Gotcha.
There was girls already coming in, and you can't really do much because they've already signed. So this is his first year. He got to actually recruit a class, and so he looked at me and I turned him down once. I was like, I committed to Marshall, and I already turned him down, and he still was on me. He was like, I see something in you that no one else sees. He drove 6 hours to come watch me play and drove 6 hours back to his house, and I was like, this dude loves me. I got to do something. Well, he comes back.
Gives me the goosies.
Yeah.
I go down there, and he looks at me straight in the face and goes, you are going to be an All-American down here. And I said, what do you mean by that? He goes, I can tell. He said, I'm not selfish. He said, I will get you to go play SEC ball if you want to. He said, or you can stay with me. He said, I am not selfish. He said, I want you to go big. And I was like, okay.
That's pretty cool to hear a coach,
awesome.
Especially you hear
I can
a lot
see
of
why
that.
You'd want to go play for him.
Yeah, you hear.
I want to go play for him. I'm not even eligible.
You hear a lot of that in your high school coaches. You hear a lot of that in your AAU travel team coaches and whatnot. But to hear a college coach say, "Come here, I see this potential," and if for some reason in 2 years, you've got people, especially in this day and age, you've got people that are in your ear saying, hey, why don't you come play at Florida? Or, hey, why don't you come play at Alabama? Some of your big name programs. And he's told you basically, I can get you there. Yeah. You don't hear that out of the college coaches anymore. They want to keep their, they want to keep their people, their classes there so they can do as well as they possibly can. That's pretty interesting. I like that out of a coach.
So what position do you play?
Well, I went down there for utility, so that's what I'm there for, but I'm mostly middle infield, outfield for college.
So now utility means you can play any position?
Yes. No pitching, though.
No pitching?
No.
Yeah.
That's bad.
You're not going to catch?
I probably won't catch in college. I think I'm more determined to play outfield.
Gotcha.
Will you play as a freshman?
Yes. I'm pretty sure down there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the way he's talking, what are you talking about? How am I going to be an All-American if you're not playing me right from the beginning?
Yeah.
So, no, I get that. And that's really cool stuff, Reaghan. It really is to hear that. And, how could you not want to play for somebody like that, right?
Yes.
And it's like, I'm a firm believer that everything happens for a reason. God has visions on our lives before we're ever even born, right? So he knew that Troy University is where you needed to be. You just so happened you had to have that little hiccup with Marshall and get where you needed to be there. And I understand completely Marshall versus Troy. One's 4 hours from home and the other one's 9 hours from home, or I don't know how far Marshall is. I know it's not very far.
It's about an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Whatever. Yeah. But anyways, that's an easy decision, right? I'm closer to home. But, it sounds like Troy really, really wanted you. Yes. And I'm excited for you. And I hope that, that works out well. I'm excited for our softball team this year.
Oh, I'm very excited.
So let's talk about that a little bit, right? So we get cheated. We've talked about this a million times.
Yeah, I try to keep. I'm like, I don't know if we should say anything. Adam would 100% go, we got cheated. 100% we got cheated. How they let somebody not score a run and then not score a run? I mean, he would just be all over.
He was tore up that night at the regional finals. And we look at this season as revenge tour, right?
Harrison County's going down this year.
We're going to finish the job this year, right?
I hope they're listening.
We'll tag them. We'll tag them in it.
The challenge has been put out.
Yeah. Reaghan says you're going down. So tell us about, this upcoming season, for the softball team. Did we lose many seniors last year, or
We lost 6 of them, and, some of them were very important.
Yeah.
We lost a great pitcher that we needed, and then we lost a great hitter and I think an outfielder. So it was just like.
So 3 starters are gone.
Yes, and it's kind of rough, but I think Puckett will understand, and we got some younger girls coming up, and I think they'll help us out a lot. But this year we're probably going to go to state. I have a feeling this will be the year.
I mean, you're going to hit 75 home runs, right? So
I hope so.
Just get on my back, gals. I'll carry us there. Right. So I'm going to Troy in style this year. So, well, I mean, and this whole coaches thing that we're doing, the athlete of the week thing, it's not even a year old, right? So we haven't got the ability to go through all of the seasons with that because it didn't even really start till like Christmas.
First time we got to go through the fall season, so
so it's the first time for that, and then we had softball and baseball, so it was exciting to follow along with all that that went on last year, and we're starting to get a little bit of traction, a little bit of road underneath us, and understand all this stuff, and hopefully be able to be more present out in some of these situations and stuff like that, and softball is one of our biggest sports in the county. I mean, you all have been good for a little while now, and it's going to be you're going to be a big loss when they lose you for sure.
So you're a senior this year.
Yes.
And I know you haven't started practice, or maybe voluntary stuff like that. Has it hit you yet?
What do you mean by that?
Will it hit you? Has it hit you yet? Like, this is my last year of softball at high school. Obviously you got to worry about basketball. That's getting ready to start next week. So I'm sure that keeps your mind at bay a little bit. Or does that affect you too? To be like, you know what? Wait a minute. This is going to be my final year of basketball. So you may even just get that whole senioritis feeling out because you're like, oh, I went through the basketball. It's no big deal. Let's go play softball now.
Well, basketball's going to hit hard. It's going to hit a lot harder than softball, I feel like, because, I'm going to miss high school softball, but I'm still going on to play softball. Now, in college, my senior year, that's just going to, I don't even know. But I don't even talk about that. But basketball is really going to hit me. I wasn't going to play last year, because I wasn't getting recruited. I was trying to get in that recruiting process, and then I finally realized I'm going to play. And so I asked the Troy coach this year, should I play softball or basketball? Because do you want me to get hurt or what's going to happen? Sure. He said, I want you to play. He said, I think it's best for kids to be multi-sport athletes. Yep. So I was like, I'm going to play. And now it's starting to hit me because basketball's starting to start up, and I'm like, it's going to go by fast. And now Coach High's losing, me, Hayden, Shay, all of us.
I mean, right.
Like,
no pressure, Dustin. But, time, you're on the clock, buddy. You're on the clock.
So getting the commitment, your second commitment over with, was it the same both ways? Was it a weight off your shoulders when you committed to Marshall, things happened, and then you committed to, was it a weight off your shoulders both times? Kind of like, okay, I can now focus in on being a better me for our softball and our basketball team.
Yeah, so, sophomore year, that's when coaches started, that's when you could start kind of talking. Yeah. And I was stressed, I wasn't at the best. I was crying every night. I was just not hitting well. I was like, I wasn't being a good team player. I'm just going to be honest. I was very selfish. And I committed to Marshall. And then this season, I hit 21 home runs. Yeah. And I'm like, it was just like, I'm not trying to prove a point to anyone. I've already committed. I'm there. Now I can just relax and go hit.
Right.
So it was amazing.
So, so ultimately, even though things happened, it happened at a good time because now you've done that again, and now you can focus in on being a good teammate and playing basketball real well, and then going out and smashing the ball on the softball field again. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
After college, what's the thought process there? I mean, you're going to school to play softball, but what's the degree? What are you hoping to do after college?
I want to go into exercise science.
Okay.
So I kind of want to go be a PT.
Okay.
And if not, there's so many things. I can be an athletic trainer or, nutrition, like just something in that
Get through college, be a physical therapist, and come back and work for the school because they really need one. They'll probably still have an opening at the school at that point for a physical therapist, athletic trainer.
I think we've had a couple of kids on here that have got that same thought process. And
sorry,
Wes has told them all the same thing.
The dad
we just need a trainer here for the love of God.
The dad just came out at me real quick because you know I've got a daughter that cheers all year long, and you play sports all year long, and we have no one there to help. Luckily I've seen Jenny at some of the football games, so. It's been nice to see somebody at these games.
Yeah, Jenny helped me at the Harrison County game when that girl dove into my arm and I couldn't throw the ball anymore. Yeah, that was bad. In a sling for 2 weeks.
So that was scary, right?
Yeah.
So you only had 21 home runs? I thought you had 21 home runs in a week. I mean...
It did seem like she had a whole lot more.
I swear I thought she had like 45 home runs.
And the softball schedule... we tried to get Coach on, and we just started realizing, guys, this isn't going to happen. You all play like...
every day?
You play at least 3 days a week, if not for... I mean, it seems like you're playing almost every day. And if you don't play, you're practicing, like any other team. But, I mean, it seems like you're playing a game. How many games y'all play? 30?
33, 36? Yeah, but I like that.
36 games in 14 days.
Because I'd rather play than practice.
Yeah, I totally understand that.
36 games in 21 days. It felt like it was so many games in such a short period of time. So
I don't know if this is a secret or not. When are you planning on signing?
In November.
Okay.
I don't know, maybe around November 8th, maybe around that time.
Gotcha.
Your boys from the podcast have been invited to be there. So
yes.
So
nice. That'll be another weight off your shoulders.
Yes.
It kind of finalizes everything, and you'll just be able to enjoy the rest of your senior season.
Now, will Coach be here for that?
Oh, no, he cannot. He can't make it.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Well, yeah, he's not allowed.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure how it was like. Are you gonna do like the fancy thing? Put all the little hats down on the table.
No,
I wish.
She's already got all that out of the way.
That's right.
She's signing the papers.
That'll be cool. That'll be cool. So, for sure.
I don't even know what you say on the tape. Like, what do you tell them how Eric found you, Coach Noel from Troy? How did he find you? He saw another girl on the team. He was recruiting another girl. Oh yeah, we were playing. Where were we playing? Okay, we were in Louisiana, and he was actually looking at another girl on the team, and his assistant coach, Coach Shellnut, she played at Florida State University.
Okay.
And she's jacked. She's a big old girl. I want to look like her. But she was sitting there watching a girl from our team, and I got the bat, and I went 4 for 4 that game. No, I made a diving catch in the outfield, and she called Coach Newell and was like, hey, there's another girl on this team that, that's really good. Well, he comes and watches me is it Alabama? Comes and watches me in Alabama, and he just fell in love. He just followed me all throughout and talked to me, and I was like, I don't even know where Troy's at. I was like, what is this? And then I finally started researching, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's the same conference as Marshall. So.
And that was when you were playing with Force?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And have you enjoyed playing with how many of those girls on that team has gone Division I?
Okay, well, there's 2 girls that's committed to UK. There's one that's actually committed to University of Alabama. So, and I think there's one Thomas Moore, and then.
Now, what about the other girl they were recruiting? Is she going to be your teammate at Troy?
No, she actually committed to University of Alabama.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's another one from UAB.
So I mean, that's pretty stacked team you were playing on there.
Yeah, so. I mean, it's kind of like.
So how did you get hooked up with them?
Well, I've played with them ever since I was 10. We started like a little 10U team, and we've always been together.
And are the majority of those girls from Kentucky?
Yes, there's probably like 3 from Alabama, right? Yeah.
Okay.
3 or 4, and then the rest are from actually Lexington. There's some from Frederick Douglass, go to Frederick Douglass, and it's all around.
That's awesome. So the girls that are in, do you know any of the other girls that are in the recruiting class with you for Troy?
Well, I met them like when I went for the official visit, and they're all good. Like, they're all Gatorade Player of the Year for their state. They're Player of the Year. You know, they got all these awards, so they're pretty stacked. I'm the farthest from the recruiting class, so that's kind of.
Got you. But that's still pretty cool to see.
So you got to go out and win Gatorade Player of the Year this year, then, right?
Well, I'm hoping. I really am. I want that Miss Kentucky softball.
There you go.
I would love to have that.
And we see no reason why that shouldn't happen.
No. Let's make it happen.
Especially after
you're going to need 45 home runs, though.
That's okay.
21's not going to cut it.
Double your home runs this year, no problem.
I'll try 3 home runs a game. Not easy.
36 games. You need 1 a game, and then just a few games with double digits. So you'll be good.
Not too hard, is it?
No, that's easy. That's easy.
What are you looking forward to schedule-wise this year for high school? Is there anything in particular that you, other than Harrison County, anything in particular that you all are doing that you're looking forward to?
Well, we've got a few new teams scheduled. Like, I've heard about Boyd County. You know, I'm excited to play them because we haven't played them since my 7th grade year. I've heard they're pretty good.
Gotcha.
And
they're always good in everything.
Yes. I think I'm just excited to play our region teams again. Like, I really want to pick up Pendleton. I want to see them.
Yeah.
We haven't got to see them, and I really want to pick them up and see them. And then Bracken. That's always fun to play Bracken County.
Yeah, I mean, their schedule, going into the softball tournament last year, their schedule wasn't, I mean, their record, I don't think reflected how good they were. Yeah. Like, the first time you all played them 3 times last year, maybe twice. It was a 1-run game every time. Mm-hmm. So there's some sneaky good softball being played in the 10th region for sure.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Clark County we got districts. Like, that's easy. Sorry, Clark County. Sorry. But we got them. The scoreboard? Oh, I put a dent in that thing.
Did you really?
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
The brand new scoreboard. They just got it up, and the little girl throws me an outside pitch like it was right there. Like, oh, it was like a watermelon. And that thing, the first ever pitch they threw of the game, I put a dent right in that scoreboard, and I was cheering. And the coach was putting what was it, Priest? It was a coach we have now, Priest, Gary Priest. I don't know if you know him. He's an assistant coach.
Okay.
And he put his head down and was shaking his head and yelling, "That's our brand new scoreboard." I was like, and now he's our coach, our assistant coach now.
That's so funny.
I mean, that's what happens. You see players hit your scoreboard and put a dent in it, and you're like, maybe I should just follow them. And maybe if you can't win, join them.
Well, it's okay. Forever that dent will be on that scoreboard, right?
Every time I go.
Yeah, that'll be awesome. That'll be awesome. Well, Reaghan, we appreciate you coming on and being with us and sharing some of your recruiting process, and excited to see what happens in your senior year in basketball and in softball both. And maybe we can get you back on before you head off into softball land. And
she'll be a regular on the show, because by the time we get Dustin on here a couple times and bringing seniors, and then we get Coach Plunkett on and bringing seniors, I mean, it's just going to be like, well, okay, so co-host.
No, that'll be great. That'll be great. So, well, thank you again for coming on and spending some time with us, and we're excited to see how the seasons go.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
We'll see you.
See ya.
And again, that was Reaghan Oney, senior basketball and softball player. So that was a fun interview.
Yes, it was. It was really good. Very few times you really get to talk to someone that's going to a Division I school. Really, in all honesty, any of the athletes that come out of Montgomery County, they go to play ball anywhere. It's a very minute percentage. So, you try it, but I mean, Division I is Division I. I mean, it's
absolutely, it's
the best of the best.
And we had, we've had Reaghan on, and we had Hayden a few weeks ago, and both their paths were a little different, right?
Right.
And I thought it was really cool, the whole, I see bright future in you. I see getting you to the SEC. So that's pretty neat. So I'm excited to see this season. I'm excited for what we're doing with this show now.
Yeah.
And anyways. All right, let's move on. We got our 5 and 5, and I've got all 5 of them as baseball topics. Because
great.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we are getting ready.
Playoffs do start,
right? So they officially start today, I think. So we were all wrong on the first manager to get fired. It was Gabe Kapler from the Giants. This is his second chance at head coach, as manager. He can't possibly get another managerial job because he screwed up Philadelphia and he screwed up the Giants. So I can't imagine he gets another chance.
Probably not.
Because he's not really had success either time.
With the amount of people, coaches, and just people in general in baseball, you're probably right.
Yeah. Miguel Cabrera, Zach Greinke, it appears, and Adam Wainwright are all retiring. Huge names leaving the game of baseball.
I mean, Wainwright is, yes, he's won 2 Cy Youngs. I know he won one. I feel like he's won a second one.
Maybe.
Miggy. I mean, what more? I mean, Miggy's just waiting for in 5 years to go into the Hall of Fame.
Oh, absolutely. He's definitely first ballot.
Zach Greinke, thank God you retired.
Zach had a good career.
For the last 5 years, it's been trash.
It's not been great. That's true. He did win a World Series with the Astros.
And good for him.
Yeah.
At least he got a ring.
Yeah.
I'm glad we don't get to see 65-mile-an-hour fastballs.
Did you see what happened after the game with Wainwright?
No.
So he's always told his family that they couldn't have a dog until he retires. So his family was there. And they bring this big box out onto the field, and his wife had already got the dog. Like the minute they announced retirement, he opens the box up, and it's a puppy. So they wasted no time.
Those are the type of things that need to be given at retirement.
Yeah.
Some of the things that Miggy got at some of these stops, like Cincinnati gave him a bat. Like, he doesn't have enough bats as it is. I mean, it's inscribed with this and that and stats. Who cares?
Right.
I mean, he's got bats that are important to him, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
The Detroit, the last game, gave him cleats that were made out of memorable baseballs of his. I mean,
that's kind of cool.
Maybe that's kind of cool, but it's just kind of like, well, I can't wear those cleats. What do you want? I mean, right. I guess they can go up on a shelf or something like that. Yeah. They're just going to collect dust. Now, I don't know.
Now, all of his kids and the manager came out. AJ Hinch came out and took him out of the game after he had made a put out. That was pretty cool. So,
I don't know that there's any better. You're coming out for the final time than when Mariano Rivera came.
Yeah.
That was. Whew, I got chills just thinking about it. Goosies.
That was pretty intense.
Moving on.
Tim Wakefield died, and we didn't even know he was sick.
And listen, Kirk Schilling needs to be. I don't know if I should say that or not. Maybe that would get me for terroristic threatening. He needs to be gone out to. How many times have you heard in the country? And they need to be gone, taken out to the barn and shot.
Yeah. What did he do? I didn't hear.
No one knew Wakefield was sick. No one knew. He wanted to keep it. He wanted to keep it very quiet.
Yeah.
And Schilling went on a podcast and just, verbal diarrhea everything.
Oh, gotcha.
About what was going on with Wakefield. I'm sure he thought he was doing it out of the goodness of his heart, worried about an ex-teammate. Stop. There's a reason it was quiet, that it was on the down low.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure it was brain cancer, for heaven's sakes. He was having a hard time. And then he just blurts it all out. Give me a daggone break.
Schilling definitely likes to run his mouth, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
So, baseball playoffs starting. Any predictions?
The Reds aren't there, so.
They're not. They got close.
And the
Cubs lost out too. There's 3 teams out of the NL West. East. I'm sorry.
Look, here's what it comes down to. I don't know who beats the Braves, and I know that. I know that's what you want to hear so much. I don't know who beats them.
I don't either.
I mean, they've put together a team that. I mean, people ought to be scared.
It's one of those teams that
is going to create a dynasty. You wait and see.
Here you look at it and you're like, where's the weakness in the lineup? There ain't one. 1 through 9.
Unless somebody gets hurt. And that's really, in all honesty, that's what has helped them get to the point they are. Acuna has stayed healthy this year.
Boy, has he ever.
Yeah.
So we said on the show last week that he was first 40-60. Well, he went out this week, stole 10 more bases, and hit the 40-70 club.
Right.
40 home runs and 70 stolen bases.
And that kind of leads into the very last of 5 of 5. They're leading in 8 statistical categories.
Yeah.
That's stupid.
Acuna leads in 4 of them. Matt Olson led in home runs and RBIs. And Spencer Strider leads in wins and strikeouts. And, oh, by the way, side note, he broke John Smoltz' Braves record for a single season in strikeouts.
I just don't see how they're beatable.
And most of their pitchers are healthy now.
Right.
But it doesn't matter because they score freaking 25 runs a game.
Right.
I mean, they won a World Series 2 years ago without Acuna.
Yeah.
And now they have Acuna.
Yeah.
And they're the team that knocked the Cubs out. And Dansby Swanson's walking off the field going, that old, hangover line that you hear, I effed up. It's like, because they go out and they've brought in, a kid that didn't make many rosters, and he turned into a freaking all-star.
I mean, here's the thing, and pardon me, for who's their manager again?
Brian Snitker.
Okay. They have gone
out. A lifetime minor league coach.
They have gone out and they know. He has basically said, here's what they've done to the rules this year. We're exploiting that. We're exploiting it to the fullest extent.
Yeah.
And they did it.
Yeah, I mean, Acuna had the green light all season.
Yeah.
And I mean, like 70 stolen bases. That number hadn't been hit since Ricky Henderson.
Right.
And that was late 80s, early 90s.
The first people that come to my mind is like the Cardinals when they had Vince Coleman and Willie McGee.
Yeah.
I mean, just swiping bases all day long.
Yeah.
And it hadn't happened until this year,
yeah.
Which, you know what? Good for Major League Baseball. I'm not sure that the whole pitch count thing, although it did hurry the games up and stuff like that. But I mean, but at least it got it to the point where it's like, yeah, you're not going to keep throwing it over there. We're going to create some offense here, yeah. and the Braves
the extra inning thing is better too, right?
Right.
You most of these extra inning games are in. You did not see one single time this year 19 inning game.
Yes,
you know, 11, 12
innings.
There was
a couple,
yeah,
and that was it.
Yeah, but anyways, I'm excited. Like I said, what I was going to say there a while ago, they won the World Series 2 years ago, so they're not going to feel the pressure. A lot of these guys that are on this team have won that already.
True.
And, the Braves, they lost Freddie Freeman and only went out and replaced him with somebody better.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes. Did the Bengals make a mistake not putting Burrow on the IR?
Did I say that last week?
You may have. But, man, alive.
This is the second straight year that they should have done it.
Yeah.
This year is even worse.
They're going to have to quit letting him play in the preseason.
And here's the thing. Last year he was able to after he was able to weather the storm because they had. I mean, technically, I think they had a better team last year.
Yeah.
Something's wrong with their offensive line because they're coming down on. I mean, and no. Other teams know, we're going to come down hard on Burrow because he can't move around.
The Titans are not very good.
No, they're not.
They beat the snot out of them.
No, I mean, absolutely just demolished them.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're like, people are like, 27-3. Wasn't close.
No. At no point. At no point.
No.
So I don't know what they're going to do at this point because you can't put him on the IR now. You put him on the IR now, the season's gone.
You're right about that. It may already be gone.
And the Ravens are running away with the Central.
I mean, at this point, you almost want to say, let's get him healthy and see what he can do after that. Of course, that's not going to be what they do. And let's get a top 10 pick and go and next year be, because look, if they were to get a top 10 pick or maybe even a top 5, I've already seen things where they say, well, if the Bengals would just fold it up and go home, they could get Marvin Harrison Jr. and then
he's going to go
tell T. Higgins, go find somewhere
else. He's
else.
going to go 1 or 2.
You're right.
They'd have to trade up to get to that spot.
And look, you never know.
They might. But I mean, like Pittsburgh lost Kenny Pickett and Freiermuth this weekend, both to, I believe, hamstring injuries. So
that's an easy
They've already
fix.
said Freiermuth is out 2 to 3 weeks.
They need to get rid of Matt Canada. We talked about that last week too.
Yeah, that's bad. Adam says, did UK give wrong coach lifetime contract after Stoops demolishes the Jaders?
So I talked about this a little bit to Neil earlier in the week when he brought that up, and I don't think that they know is the answer in my eyes. At this point, Stoops should be given a contract to say you're going to be given anything you want at any time you need, just like Calipari. But it only happens right now. At the time, he's hit that point that Calipari hit in 2015 when he got his lifetime contract.
Yeah.
So Stoops has hit that point now. And it's just because of where he's had this program in the last 4 years, especially, where we've gone to 2 Citrus Bowls and won those. I mean, last year was the first bowl they've lost in 4 years. So, yes, he should be given whatever you want to call it, lifetime contract now, because he's hit that point. Calipari has hit. No, it's not national championship status, but he's got Kentucky football on the map. They should be ashamed that they didn't have them ranked up until this point. I understand that they played, but look, they still don't respect Kentucky. And, there's a lot of places that might call him in the offseason, but there's nowhere where he's going. The only 2 places in my eyes that he would go is Michigan and Ohio State. Would he listen to Alabama? Yes. Would he listen to Florida State? Yes. I don't know. If they were to fire Billy Napper, would they call Stoops? Yes. Will he listen to him? I don't think so. I think Kentucky is over at this point, is a better team than Florida and has jumped them in power rankings.
He's beat them 3 years in a row.
Exactly. And this year,
which, by the way, the last time that happened, Bear Bryant was the coach in Kentucky.
Right.
So, he's had some big wins over the year. That may have been Stoops' marquee win, and I'll tell you why. Because they beat the dog snot out of the Gators.
They did.
I mean, it was not close. They smacked them in the mouth right off the bat, got the interception, scored the touchdown, and the game was over. It was never a game. And I think here's what I think has happened with Kentucky, and I agree with what you were saying. He might get some calls. It's taken him, what's he been here now, 8, 9, 10 years?
10 years.
Okay. It's taken him 10 years to get to this point. You're not getting 10 years out of Florida or a Michigan or Ohio State. And I don't know that he's a coach that can go in like a Lincoln Riley or a Prime and flip a roster in a year. I don't think he's that coach, right? It's a cultural thing. He's building the culture here. But what he has become, you think about it. Our quarterback on Devin
Leary.
Devin Leary played a big game. Ray Davis played a big game. They're both transfers, right?
Exactly.
So Kentucky is becoming one of those universities where these guys can go and knock out that big time senior, junior year transfer type thing and take them from a lower spot to more of a marquee to where they're going to get seen. Kentucky gets several guys drafted every year, and that's fairly new, right?
Oh yeah.
So I think that's what he's done, and I don't see a reason for him to leave. They're paying him well,
Right.
and like I said, I don't see him going to a Michigan and having Michigan in a better spot than what Harbaugh does.
It depends on who he takes with him. Really, it only depends on one person he takes with him.
Cohen?
No, that's Vince Merrill.
Oh.
I mean, he's the salesman.
Yeah.
And he can get, if you're at a Michigan or an Ohio State, he can get anybody to come there.
Yeah.
And I mean, anybody.
Yeah.
But I've said this on here before. I'll say it again. I'll continue to say it. He has no stress here.
Nope.
He is in the absolute perfect spot. If he goes 7-5 each year, guess what? Kentucky football fans are kind of like, they are starting to get to the point where they're like, I want more, I want more. But at the end of the day, they're like, we went to a bowl. We had fun going to the bowl, stuff like that. And they've already been 10-3 twice and been in the Citrus Bowl. This year they're 5-0 going in to play the number one team in Georgia that, by the way, don't look as strong as they've been in the last 4 years or
and
so.
They struggled with a bad Auburn this past week.
So he just doesn't have any stress at all. The other point that you just made about transfers, and I talked to Neil about this also, he says Prime is the best at the portal. And but it's different. Prime is Prime. People want to go play for Prime in Colorado now. And he's using the transfer portal, especially this year, to be able to get some of those guys. Mark Stoops is, I think, the best at the transfer portal in the nation, in college football. And I'll tell you why. He sees what holes he needs to fill a year in advance, like quarterback, like defensive end, like running back. And he goes and handpicks these guys. And with the NIL, he knows, okay, I can allow myself 5 to 6 guys and be able to give them what they need to be able to come here and play at Kentucky and play in the SEC. And he's done the best job of filling the holes that he needs to fill and get the absolute best player that is out there in the transfer portal to come to Kentucky, not Tennessee, not Alabama.
I mean, Devin Leary arguably was the top quarterback in the transfer portal.
Right.
I mean, him and Sam Hartman were two of the best.
After Ray Davis laid the smackdown on us last year, he went, that's a guy that needs to be playing here because he's pretty special, and he's proven that.
Yeah. And, I mean, like Spencer Sanders left Oklahoma State to go to Ole Miss, and he's not even playing.
Yeah, he's playing behind Dart. That was their starter last year.
Yeah. So
he's got a knack for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
it's exciting. And
yeah.
You know, the spread right now is 14.5. Or at least it was
been
this afternoon.
Bet way down.
Yeah, it was started out at 17.
Right.
No.
So it started out at 21.5.
Did it really?
It did not stay there very long. It went to 21.5. It went to 19. It went to 17, and now it's at 14.5.
Yeah, and that was this morning, so I don't know what it is now, but yeah, he's doing something right. Colorado bounced back against USC in a close one. One could argue that if Travis Hunter and Shiloh Sanders played, they could have beat USC.
It's very possible.
Yeah. I mean, they got down big and had to come back, but it's like Dion said, you better get me now.
it showed me that after adversity for a full game and a half, that he was like, I've had enough of this crap.
Yeah.
Whatever he said to the players and whatever he did, I mean, it showed that he could make an adjustment. Him and his coaching staff.
Yeah.
I personally am still not sold on if Prime is actually a good coach or not. He's surrounding himself with really good assistant coaches that eventually are going to get picked off really quickly. But it does that show that coaching staff can come together and let's make these changes.
I mean, I'll be stunned if he doesn't lose Sean Lewis to a bigger coaching job after this season.
Right.
So,
right.
Let's see. This was another thing I just added to that. USC, I don't think would be very good if it wasn't for Caleb Williams. I don't see them winning the Pac-12 at all.
I agree with that.
I think Oregon and Washington are the two best teams in the Pac-12.
Yeah.
And one of those two teams is going to be in the playoff. And it's probably going to be Oregon because they're pretty darn good.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
And then
what?
That Pac-12, what would you call him? The Pac-12 commissioner. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
Man, what an absolute, not even fall grade, just absolute mistake he was.
Yeah.
Because they're playing good football.
Well, the next question was, is Pac-12 the best conference? And I think they are.
I mean, how do you let all these teams go? I mean, look, the Pac-12 has been mediocre for a long time. But once those schools finally got some coaches in place that and with the transfer portal and stuff like that, and was able to, that he just didn't give it enough time.
Yeah.
And
well, he could not get out of his own way with trying to make a TV deal.
Yeah, agreed.
And it's his fault that this conference is falling apart.
Yeah.
Right? You got 4 teams going to the Big 12, and you got 4 teams going to the Big 10. Yep. And then you've got Oregon State and Washington State, who, by the way, is undefeated, that are just left out there in the cold.
And they're not getting paid money for a while. Some of them may have a different deal than others.
I forgot California and Stanford's going to ACC. And, yes, they won't get any money for like 7 years.
Right. I mean, it's
like, how stupid is that?
Right. But that just shows you how bad that commissioner was.
Yeah. So, I don't know if it happens or not, but there's still talks of the Mountain West and the Pac-2 combining and trying to make that the Pac-12. But I think the hiccup is they want the Mountain West commissioner to be the commissioner.
No
and
doubt.
The Pac-12 dude
get out.
So,
yeah, I mean, it
needs to be.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it still puts them into, like, I don't know that they would still be a Power 5 school.
They would go back to being the mediocre Pac-12 for a while because we've discussed it on here before, and I know me and Neil said, I mean, there are some really good schools in that Mountain West Conference.
Yeah.
If San Jose State's pretty good, San Diego State's pretty good.
Yeah.
If I'm
You're
right with these,
you're right.
Who did I say? San Diego State.
Boise State's in there.
Fresno State's pretty good. I mean, there's some good teams in that conference.
Yeah. Utah State, I think, is in there. Nevada's in there.
Right. So, I mean,
so yeah.
They've got teams there, but it's just.
And speaking of money, right? So SMU went to the ACC as well, right?
Right.
So they're not getting any money for like 7 years as well.
Right.
Did you see that? Like within 24 hours, they raised $100 million from their alumni to be able to carry them for the next 7 years or whatever to do all this.
I did not see that.
Yeah, it was something crazy. I know it was over $100 million, and it was in less than 48 hours, something like that, that they were able to step up and I'm sitting there going, you know what? I didn't go to college, but had I gone to college, it'd be really hard for me to come off. Oh yeah, let me cut you a check for $3 million. Screw that.
Okay.
I worked for this money. I'm not giving you that.
But that just shows you right there the reason SMU was picked up by the ACC.
I know.
Somebody knew something.
Yeah.
Because I think there was a lot of people who were like, huh?
But
why does that fit?
But see,
but obviously
you think
SMU,
you think back, it was a prominent college football team in the 80s, right? Then they had the death penalty, and they've never recovered from it.
Right.
Well, now they're back in the Power 5.
Right. Yeah.
So SMU's going to be able to compete with schools they're going to be able to say, look, I'm a Power 5 school.
Right.
We're in Texas. We're going to be able to compete. So, it'll be a big positive for them on that part of it. So, I wrote down 3 different Dog of the Week candidates. Saturday I thought there's no way it's not Ray Davis. And then you get Spencer Strider goes out and breaks John Smoltz record. And then CMC goes out and rushes for 106 yards, 3 touchdowns, 7 catches for 71 yards and a touchdown. And he single-handedly beat the freaking Cardinals.
He did. But that's CMC.
It is.
And he's done that before.
Yeah.
And it was the Cardinals.
Right.
Which, again, we've talked about. They've played pretty well for Gannon.
They have.
But it's still the Cardinals.
Yeah. It's really hard.
And CMC is, he's a fantasy darling.
Yeah.
And so, and he there's other people out there that are like, you're starting to compare younger players, college players, even younger than that. They're like, he's the next Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
So
he's a generational talent that I'm happy we've got to witness to play.
And he's changed the game.
Yeah.
I mean, the game was changing anyways, but I think he's the one that made a lot of these teams go, yeah, we need a receiver that can play running back.
Yeah. Well, and last week we talked about 49ers and Dolphins look like the 2 best teams. Well, 49ers definitely. Dolphins got smacked around by the Buffalo Bills again. They can't beat them.
Buffalo they've made some changes that kind of
I think they got mad with that opening week loss to the Jets.
Should scare a lot of people.
Yeah. Yeah. The Chiefs barely beat the Jets, and they had a 17-0 lead and barely kept that game and just won by 3.
By the way, do you know who the Chiefs offensive coordinator is?
Is it Nagy?
It's Matt Nagy.
Yeah.
There's your problem. I mean, I understand that Mr. Walrus Face calls all the that was not very nice, was it?
No, it wasn't. Andy Reid's a Hall of Famer.
But he looks like
and
a walrus.
He is the 4th winningest head coach.
He looks like a walrus.
He likes to eat cheeseburgers, too.
Okay.
He's funny as all get out.
But Matt Nagy,
yeah,
the guy that used to coach your Bears,
who, by the way, only had 1 losing season as a head coach. Looking back, he might not have been that bad.
I mean,
Eberflus is bad.
The turd I put in the toilet this afternoon is better than Matt Nagy.
Okay, so talking about offensive coordinators, so Eric Bieniemy goes to Washington.
He needs a quarterback.
And he's got Washington playing good football.
Yeah. Sam Howell played well the first game and a half, and now he's showing his rookie status.
Here's my question. I know we'll get to the dog week here in just a second. Here's my question. Bieniemy has been interviewed for the last 4 years for a head coach job. Why is he not getting that job?
Because he needed to do what he's doing now. He needed to get out from underneath of that walrus flipper of Andy Reid. Because,
because,
that's
more like a seal, I think.
Because he's kind of a small guy, and he fits up underneath of that walrus flipper pretty good. But he needed to get out from underneath of that to show I can do this by myself.
Well, I mean, they give the Eagles everything they wanted the other day. And Sam Howell's still young. He's playing good.
He's played okay, but he's holding on to the ball way too long.
He is. Brian Robinson fumbling the ball on the goal line did not help.
Did not help.
Right? Especially didn't help my fantasy team, although I did win. But if they go to the playoffs, does Eric Bieniemy get a head coaching job this offseason? Or does he need one more year?
If they can make the playoffs with Sam Howell,
it's already come out saying, at first the players didn't like him, right? Because he was a little tough on them.
Right.
But, sometimes tough helps.
Quit being soft.
They're playing hard football in Washington. So
quit eating Rudy Gobert cones.
right. So anyways, our Tutu's dog of the week has to be Ray Davis, right?
It's Ray Davis.
280 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns. And he didn't play the full game.
The first 4 games, I don't know if you heard this. The first 4 games of the season, they had not used the trap scheme at all. They were holding that for Florida's game. So some of it's Liam Cohen. But you still got to have a guy that knows what you're talking about, putting the whole trap scheme in, and your offensive line played really well.
The dude scored a touchdown with 13 Gators on the field.
And he was like, oh, I kind of like this. And just ran. And really, in all honesty, because of the score, they went ahead and took him out, which is smart.
Yeah, but he could have had 300 easy.
Way over 300.
Yeah. So, anyways, that being said, Ray Davis, UK running back, is this week's Dog of the Week. All right. Snackapalooza is causing World War III.
Let me tell you something. That matchup last night between Cosmic Brownie and Nutty Buddy.
Back and forth for an hour and a half.
We've had all these. I don't know. I can't remember. We've been through 15?
It's been a bunch. We're in the second round of the winner's bracket.
It was tied with a minute left.
Yeah.
Seconds on the clock.
Yeah.
And Nutty Buddy backs up and drains one from 3-point line.
Caitlin badly wanted the Brownies to win because she was gonna do something.
Boo.
And I texted her and I was like, Brownies lost by 1 at the last second. So, but redemption, right? They could come out of the redemption bracket.
That's right.
So
that's right. In fact, our other one just went final about 30 minutes ago.
Oh, Fudge Rounds had to have killed them, right?
Fudge Rounds won by 18 points.
Yeah.
55-37. I'm disappointed in you all. We only got 90 votes.
Well, see, the closer it is, the more votes we get. It's like, oh, it's a blowout.
We should have been over 100.
Yeah. So, but have you had anybody say,
but you know
what's next?
So,
Neil said he's had people asking him what's next.
I'm going to give you a little sneak peek because we were talking about this the other day, and maybe I shouldn't be doing this, but I'm going to give you a little sneak peek in the redemption bracket.
Okay.
Fancy Cake, Zebra Cake just got beat by Fudge Round. Guess who their next opponent is in the redemption bracket? It's going to be Fancy Cake versus Zebra Cake. We have set this thing up on random draw.
Yeah.
And by God, could it not come down to a better matchup? Perfect matchup. Fancy Cake, Zebra Cake. It's the same dang cake. But one's got chocolate stripes. And the other one, you got to hold your pinky up on.
But now, Fancy Cake, is that the white one or the chocolate one?
That's white.
Okay.
It's the exact same, except for Zebra Cake has a chocolate stripe on it.
Well, it is also in a different shape.
No, it's square.
Zebra Cake?
Yeah.
No, Zebra Cake,
Oh, you're right, it is. It's a stop sign.
Yeah.
It's a hexagon.
Yeah. That's what I thought. It's a bigger cake.
I just got a text from Trey.
Oh, gosh. Trade offer?
Did you figure anything out about Judy or Wilson?
He asked me about that
Love
today.
you, Trey.
And I told him, I was like, I said, from my understanding,
We can talk about this because the other guys would just puke.
it's going to take a significant offer for Wilson.
Yeah.
And
I told him that.
And he's like, yeah, and I was like, look, you cannot try to buy Garrett Wilson based on the fact that his quarterback isn't in good play. Because I said, it's that whole argument is, why are you trying to go after somebody with an argument that they suck? That is the worst way. That is the worst thing in fantasy sports that I've ever heard. Hey, your guy's not really playing very well. Why don't you let me trade for him? Let me give you some guys that are worse than him. I hate that. So, anyways. All right, let's move on to the pick'em. It's not even close. You're killing us. I mean, you've hit your atomic dog 3 weeks in a row, right?
I'm pretty good at this stuff.
Didn't I see that? I was going to say, what's the current standings? I know you're like at 51.
Current standings it was. It doesn't matter. You're at 17. You haven't even broke 20 yet.
Look. I'm trying a different strategy.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure you are.
It's awful because here's the worst part about it is like I even put a bet on my Utah last week. I was so confident they'd win.
Yep, lost.
But then what's his face didn't play.
Yeah, right.
So that kind of sucked. So I told you and Neil the other night that I'm submitting a rule change.
Oh, God.
And you told me that I can't do that, but no. I'm going to do it anyways. So here's the rule change, okay?
So you're going to do it because Neil's not here. He would have stopped you in your tracks.
No, I told him about it earlier. So since I'm in last place, I'm going to take every underdog as the atomic dog this week, so I can guarantee that nobody gets an atomic dog because I can't hit it. So if I take them all, then you all can't hit it either, and I can't get any further behind you. So that way, I'll just take all the atomic dogs.
So you're taking the field.
I'm taking the field to guarantee that you all cannot get your atomic dog.
That's about the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
I'm just kidding.
Oh, I'm just going to cheat.
I'm just kidding.
I take the field.
I told you it'd be funny, though. All right, let's see. Adam texted me his stuff. Oh, wait. All right, we got a caller that just called in here. Sir, could you please introduce yourself?
Well, golly, fellas. Long time no see.
It's the mullet man himself.
I am live in charge. I don't know what that means.
Hey, is Tony the Muscle there with you?
Tony the Muscle, he just got done working out, so I tucked him into bed. So had you called 30 seconds sooner, you'd have got to speak to Tony the Muscle. But he is in bed for the evening.
Maybe next week.
All right. Well, Neil is joining us. We're gonna do our picks here, and so let's go ahead and get started on those. We got the old Red River rivalry, Oklahoma at Texas.
Well, I'll start, and I can start every pick. You know, I know, Sean, you went first last week, so I don't want you to go first again. Wes, you don't even remember who went first last week. No. So I'll go first. I think that might make things easier. I think this game could put up 250 points combined. They got two high-powered offenses. I think the team with the ball at the end of the game may be the winners, but I'm going to roll with the Texas Longhorns.
All right. Adam says last year OU got absolutely boat raced in this game. Sooners are a little better this year, but Texas is still on another level. Give me Texas by 3 scores.
Ooh, he thinks it's going to be close.
Yeah, real close. Wes?
I've picked Texas twice. They haven't let me down. Hook 'em.
And I think Texas is the better team as well. So, LSU at Missouri, an undefeated Missouri team.
You know, Sean, I was big on LSU. You said something earlier that really got me thinking. LSU, I think something is wrong with them. So, they haven't played well, but I'm going to roll with Go Tigers. That's who I'm going to roll with. Go Tigers.
They're both Tigers, so which Tiger?
Oh, see what I did there? I can't lose.
Okay, I'm just going to say Tigers. No.
Actually, I was not thinking about Missouri being the Tigers. That was a dumb moment on my part. I apologize. Give me the Tigers from Baton Rouge.
All right. Adam says Missouri has a wide receiver that's starting to be talked about in Heisman conversations. LSU used to claim they were DBU, but after giving up 55 to Ole Miss last week, I'm not sure they can still claim that. Noon kickoff might catch LSU napping for a bit, but I think they wake up in the second half LSU by 6. Wesley?
I'm going Missouri. I picked them maybe our second week. And I think they found themselves a quarterback. And I think this is their game that they want to say, yeah, Missouri's not a bad team, and it's at home, and we're like, this is their let's rush the field game.
Yeah. Well,
yes, I'm going to have to put in a contingency that if you ever pick them again, you have to call them Missouri.
I should call them Mizzou because that's what they were on NCAA basketball. On I think that was the original Xbox. Is they went by Mizzou, Mizzou.
Yeah, well, Missouri.
Yeah.
There's no R in there, Neil.
Missouri.
Missouri.
Anywho, well, I watched that game between Kansas State and Missouri.
You know, it doesn't matter who he picks; it's still going to be a terrible pick.
Yes, and Missouri could not be stopped, and LSU can't stop a nosebleed right now. So I'm going to roll with Missouri as well.
Thank you.
Okay, UK at Georgia.
Man, I so bad want to pick the Cats, but last week I did not pick the Cats, and they had a convincing victory. So my plan worked perfectly. Mark Stoops, you can email me that check or whatever, voucher, whatever you want to send me. So this week I'm gonna roll with the Dogs because the Dogs are the defending champs until somebody knocks them off, and for almost 2.5 years nobody's been able to do that. So give me the Bulldogs.
Okay. Adam says UK passed one test last week, absolutely running all over the Jaders. This week, they face a different animal. Georgia has playmakers all over the field. Brock Bowers could continue his dominance this week. I got UGA winning this one by 2 scores. And I hope he's right because I've got Kentucky in 14.5. Wesley?
Oh, how I want to take my Cats here. But I can't. Because this is the first night game that Georgia has had in 3 years. They've been so good that all of their games have been at 3:30 or 4:30 in the afternoons because they're on the major channels. And not that they're not good this year, but this is their first night game at home in, I think, 3 years, if I'm not mistaken. I heard that. For that reason, I think they beat Kentucky. I think it's about by 10.
Interesting. Well, I don't disagree with anything that you all have said, other than the fact that Georgia really struggled with a bad Auburn team last week. I know that was at Auburn, a little bit different story. I think Kentucky's playing really well right now. And I'm so many points behind you guys. Why not? I'm going to pick the Cats, baby.
C-A-T-S, Cats.
All right.
Well, there's that.
Notre Dame at Louisville.
I think this is going to be a sneaky good game. Notre Dame is not playing very well right now. And people are like, oh, they played really good against Ohio State. I'm like, they played really good for 3 quarters. That fourth quarter, something changed, and it changed, and it looked different against Duke. If Riley Leonard doesn't get hurt, I don't know that Notre Dame pulls it out. It was a late comeback then. I think they could get right here. Louisville hasn't played anybody, but it's at home, 7:30. I'm going to go with the Cardinals.
All right. Adam says a night game in Louisville, and the Cards are undefeated. Cards set at 5-0, and they've benefited from a weak schedule. Notre Dame is coming to town to send a message this week. Give me the Irish by 3 scores.
Oh, wow. I think the Irish could win. I don't think they win by that much.
Wesley?
I'm taking the Golden Domes. L's down for life.
I'm also taking Notre Dame. So I agree with Adam. Weak schedule. I can see it being a close game, but I think Notre Dame has played 2 really good teams in the last 2 weeks, and barring a last-second touchdown against Ohio State, they've outplayed both the teams.
Cardinals don't have teeth.
All right, Alabama at Texas A&M.
I just want to see Jimbo Fisher and Nick Saban fist fight before Nick Saban retires. Just at the 50-yard line, just like 2 elderly men in a nursing home that looks like they're trying out, competing for the heart of the Golden Bachelorette. But I mean, I don't see Texas A&M's okay. I'm not sure how they're not ranked. They should be ranked, but I know the spread's only 2.5 right now. I think Bama's starting to get better. I think they're starting to figure things out, and it's kind of hard to roll against Nick Saban very often. So give me the Alabama Crimson Tide.
I'm disappointed in you.
I'm sorry.
I'm taking the Aggies because I think they found something in their new quarterback, Big Bad Brad's son.
No. I tell you on the phone the other day, because he does not go by Brad or BJ and wear the elbow pads. I do not associate him with his father, who's the Super Bowl champion for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Your team, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but I'm taking the Aggies. I think they're going to pull the upset.
All right, Adam says, let's be honest, this is probably a battle to see who wins the SEC West. Jimbo bringing Petrino on seems to be the fix for that offense. Max Johnson stepped up at QB and looks like he's ready for the moment. Alabama still has a lot of question marks on offense, but the defense can fly around. I'm going with Texas A&M by 3 in a battle of West Virginia coaches. I picked against Alabama last week. I'm not doing it again. So, Alabama. All right. Dog time, so I get to pick first.
That's right. That's the rule we made up with.
Whoa. We didn't have everybody there on that rule.
Well, you were here.
I was not.
Yeah, you were.
You lie?
I said right here I said last week. I said I'm okay with.
I'm just giving you a hard time. Listen. Don't get your heart all out of whack, old man. Just take a joke.
See, he's way behind me, so it's not going to help him any.
I'm going to miss it anyway, so it doesn't matter.
This is true.
I don't know how this is possible, other than the fact that they're on the road. But Washington State is a dog to UCLA, so I'm taking Washington State in an atomic dog win.
You suck.
How's it feel, Wes? You jerk.
I knew it was going to come back around the horn because I'll have to pick last.
Adam would be next. Adam says, for this one, I had to call up an old friend. I'm getting a little far behind in the standings, and I've been strategic to this point with my pick. It's time to call my friend Oppenheimer because I need an atomic dog. And when I look, there's only one spot I can go. Give me the Fighting Rich Rods at Jacksonville State, going into Middle Tennessee State and destroying the Blue Raiders. Go Cox.
Who's the cock?
I guess Jacksonville State.
Are they the Cocks?
Is that the first time we've ever said that on this podcast?
No. No way possible.
I don't know. So, and that's like a Wednesday night game.
It is a Wednesday night game.
Yeah,
you're right.
It is. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that I got to pick before Wes here. So, I too am going Atomic Dog because everybody's trying to play catch up to the bread man. Give me UAB, who is a dog at home against South Florida. Give me the Fighting Trent Dilfers.
That's why you picked him, because it was Trent Dilfer, another game manager for your Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, he's good, man.
I considered that game.
He absolutely roasted a ref last week. Did you see that?
No.
As he should have.
Oh, my gosh. I mean, just irate at a ref.
All right, Wes. You've hit 3 consecutive atomic dogs. Are you going for 4?
Neil, are you you have any last words or anything like that? Because I got to bring back up the old schedule here.
I do not.
Okay. Well.
Hey, I do have one last word.
What's that?
Stay safe, friends.
See you, bud.
Oh, let's see. What is on the dock this week? Okay. I love home dogs. Home dogs are my peeps. And Baylor is a 1-point home dog to Texas Tech. You gotta find them. Atomic Dog.
It'll probably be one of those same things that happened last week. By the time your game started, they were favorites.
Ain't my fault.
1 point. Like basically a pick'em game. Good grief.
They're still. I don't understand the whole home dog. Look, if you're bad, you're bad. But when you got the same record, don't you make me a home dog. I will come for your throat.
That'll be an interesting game, for sure. I mean, Texas Tech was supposed to be much better than they are, and they just haven't done it. They played toe-to-toe with Oregon for 3.5 quarters.
Yeah.
And they ain't played like that against anybody else. So I don't know if that says more about Oregon or Texas Tech, but I don't know. Well, anyways, that wraps up that segment. Just a little bit of breaking news here before we get off the air. Urban Meyer is interviewing for the Michigan State job. Like, I thought he was done.
He needs to be. He should go up there and get somebody to grind on him up there and get in trouble.
Well, I mean, look, Sexual Abuse University hiring Urban Meyer.
Right.
I mean, it's the perfect fit, right? It is the perfect fit. I mean, right? That is the West beating your head against a wall. Like,
listen,
look,
if we ever go to video, that's gold.
You got to go get somebody else, right?
Yes.
You got to fix the program.
Why in the world? They're not going to get somebody? I mean, I don't know. Somebody mentioned PJ Fleck.
No.
You know
who you need?
But somebody that can change the culture.
You need the dude at Oregon State or the dude at Washington State or
you wait and see if they
Billy Napper would be great. Bring him up there. He's a culture guy.
You wait and see if they don't call Mark Stoops.
Well, they might. And then we'll call and get the Troy guy, right? That you said.
I mean, there's another guy that Stoops has finally started this tree. And I think he's the main guy in that tree at this point that could just, why wouldn't you go from Troy to Michigan State. Makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I don't know. That'll be interesting to see what transpires over the next week on that. And so, anyways, another great show for sure. Having Reaghan on was awesome.
Awesome.
And, we covered some good topics.
Snackapalooza. Keep watching it.
Yep.
It's out every day.
Yep.
It's dwindling down. We got a Final Four now in the winners bracket. We're going to have a Final Four in 3 days. I don't think that's right. In 3 or 4 days in the losers bracket.
Yeah.
Before you know it, you'll blink your eye and we're in the championship game and Christmas tree cake will lose.
I don't think so, my friends. So we'll see you guys next week.
Stay safe.
The Moco Four Horsemen would like to thank you for listening to From Corner to Corner. Be sure to go out and follow us on Twitter, on TikTok, on Facebook, Instagram, and even YouTube. Whatever podcast platform that you listen to us on, be sure to go out and give us a 5-star review. Thanks as always, and we look forward to seeing you next week.